Hey guys, Dr. Callahan's here. This is for probability and statistics for week 5, Thursday for semester 1. I hope you guys had a good 3 days of virtual days, but go ahead and pause the video and get started on your warm-up log. This is week 5, Thursday. Your warm-up log is due on week 9, Friday. So you have exactly about 4 more weeks and 1 more day. Here are the answers for the 3 questions. Essentially, what x and y intercepts are points where the graph hits the x-axis and the y-axis. You did have a little bit of textbook work yesterday for number 30 to 44 for week 5, Thursday. So if you did not get to that, make sure you go to the Google Docs for this class. And this homework was assigned for week 8. All right, now let's move on for today's step. Today I'm going to talk about 11.3, 11.4, which is going to be combination, permutation, and the fundamental counting principle. So this is our 3rd day. You guys do have a quiz on this section that you will need to do this in class, but not before I go over a few examples with you that are very similar to the quiz itself. Now there are a video guided notes right here that you can go ahead and watch as well if you feel like you're not quite ready. And then I have a quizzes right here that's going to ask you, do you know which formula to use, whether it's going to be combination or permutation when we talk about different scenarios. And then if we were in class, we would be doing a Kahoot as well. And so yeah, so your homework tonight is basically to correct the quiz and also to complete it if you need to complete it. And next is, do you know your decks of cards? Like how many are face cards, jokers, kings, deck cards, etc. And because we're moving on to more complex and sophisticated probability questions, so our next task is to continue with probability but using cards. But in order to do the probability correctly, you need to know how many cards there are in a deck of cards, how many are spades, how many are hearts, how many are black cards, how many are red cards. So do a little research on that as the second half of your homework assignment. Now let's go ahead and proceed forward for today. So we've been talking about the differences of permutation and combination. At this point, you should know that permutation uses this formula, combination uses this formula. The only difference is in R prime. Now, you don't have to memorize this because you are allowed to use your guided notes as long as you take them for your assessments. Now, with permutation, order absolutely matters and also repeats. Combination order does not matter. So some of the scenarios we talked about are as follows. All right, if you can access the quiz, so if you go to your MS team, so let's go ahead and take a look at that so you know how to get this. I'm going to switch over to MS team, and then here's the class itself. If you guys go to Prop and Stats, which is a class that you do have, it says week 5, Thursday, 11.4, permutation and combination. Click on the view assignments. From your view, this is what it should look like. The instructions are right there, so click on that little gray box to download the assignment. And I'm also going to start doing your assignments and assigning them on MS Teams, mainly because with the inconsistencies of the virtual days and whatnot, it's really difficult to see you guys the following day and have you guys turn that in. So your assignments are always going to be due 1 week from when it's assigned. Since this is assigned on week 5, Thursday, it is due on week 6, Thursday. There are no exceptions, no extensions. So make sure you just get it done. My rule of thumb is just get it done week 5, Thursday. Get it done that one day. And that way you have 6 more days to not worry about it. So this is your quiz for today. But before we go over the quiz, I have a few problems right here that are similar to that. So I'm going to go over some of these in class. And then also, if you take a look at the bottom right here, there's a link to it. So that link also goes over examples that are these examples. but with step-by-step. So you can go ahead and watch that as well, in addition with me going over this with you guys in class. So with that said, let's go ahead and proceed forward. All right, let's take a look at this right here. First question says a horse race has 12 horses. So that's going to be one of my numbers. How many different ways can first, second, and third occur? Well, in this case, because there's a first, second, third place, order does matter. So in which case, what you're going to be using is permutation, okay? And since there are 3 winners, 3 is going to be my other number. And the bigger number is always going to be N, smaller number is going to be R. So then when I look at my permutation formula, it's going to be N factorial over N minus R factorial times R factorial. So let's plug this in. So my N is 12, my R is 3. So I have 12 factorial over 12 minus 3 factorial. Actually, I don't like the way I wrote that. 12 minus 3 factorial, which is going to be 9 factorial. Let's just skip a step. Times 3 factorial. Then, of course, if you extend this down, it'll be 12 times 11 times 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 times 3 factorial. And actually, you know what? I can probably make this a little bit easier if I do the following. I mean, it gets a little bit messy. Lots of numbers there. So I can probably instead do this. Just do 12 times 11 times 10 times 9 factorial. Stop there. Keep your 9 factorial in the denominator, then extend your 3 factorial. The reason I did that is because if you look at your 9 factorial, that cancels directly, which is great because that's one less thing for you to worry about. And then you have a 10 divided by a 2, which is going to give you a 5. And then you have a 12 divided by a 3, which is going to give you a 4. So then what is your answer? Your answer, you can use a calculator if you need it, is going to be 4 times 11 times 5 over 1, which essentially is 44 times 5. And if you go ahead and do that by hand, that's going to give you a 20. Oops, I can't write that as closely. So here we go. 44 times 5, 20, 220 is your answer. All right, now let's take a look at the second part. How many different ways can 4 fruit be selected from 6 for a salad? These are your 2 numbers. Do I really care which 4 fruit is going to be selected, whether strawberry is first or then followed by banana, then kiwis, and then pineapples? No. So in this case, order does not matter. I mean, it's great that you toss in the strawberries first and then followed by the bananas, but it really doesn't matter. I mean, like once you kind of shake it all together, it tastes about the same. So in this case, it is going to be a combination. And the combination formula is as follows. It is going to equal to n factorial over n minus r factorial. So it's actually essentially a little bit less complicated than permutation. So since my n is going to be 6 and my r is going to be 4, let's go ahead and do that. 6 factorial. 6 minus 4 is going to give me a 2 factorial. Now go ahead and extend the numbers here. 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 factorial over 2 factorial. The 2 factorials top and bottom cancels. So then let's go, if you have a calculator, this will go significantly faster, but I don't right now. So these two will give me a 20. 20 times a 6 is going to give me a 200 or 120 times a 3. 12 times 3 is 36. Don't forget your 0. 360 different ways. All right, now let's take a look at the next one. In how many ways can the word Mississippi be rearranged? Now remember with this one, it's when the letters reoccur. So you have a n factorial over a p factorial times a q factorial times a r factorial times a s factorial, dot, 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 and you just keep going with the letters as long as you have letters that actually repeat. Now, n factorial is going to be the number of all of the letters in Mississippi. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's going to be n. P is going to be your first repeat. So let's see. I is going to be my first repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4 I's. And there are 4 I's. Okay. Next is going to be your Q. So what other letter repeats here? I have S. 1, 2, 3, 4 S's. Okay. After that, I have P. 1, 2. And I think that's about it. I don't think there's anything else that's going to be repeating. Now that I have NPQS, or excuse me, NPQR, you can go ahead and plug this back into the formula. So you are going to have 11 factorial divided by P, which is 4 factorial, times by Q, which is 4 factorial, times by R, which is going to be 2 factorial. Let's go ahead and extend this. So 11 times 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5 times 4 factorial. 4 factorial, which I know is going to cancel from the numerator. And then you have 4, 3, 2, 1 times, extend your other 2 factorial, 2 times 1. And now it comes to the part where you get to cancel a few of them. You know that 6 divided by 2 is going to give you a 3. You also know that 8 divided by 2 is going to give you, or actually, you know what, I want to save that. Hold on a second. I'm going to save 10 divided by 2 is going to give you a 5. 8 divided by 4 is going to give you a 2. Denominator on the bottom, you're only left with ones, which is awesome. So on top, you have 11 times 5 times 9 times 2 times 7 times 3 times 5. 11, 5, 9, 2, 7, 3, 5. Just checking to make sure. So whatever the product this is, I think it's going to be somewhere in the millions maybe. That is going to be your answer. I don't have a calculator, but you guys can go ahead and do that. All right, you guys, with that said, you can go ahead and get started with a quiz. I'm also going to go ahead and show you guys the answers. Make sure you guys actually take this time to fill this part out as well, in addition to your exit ticket. So pause the video if you're not ready for the answers just yet. Here are your responses. So it's going to be out of 7. Just go ahead and tally it up and then take a photo, upload it to me. You cannot just include the letters here, which is awesome, but I need you to show me the work for these questions. Anything that doesn't have any work, you will not get points for them. Sorry, I know it's the same thing that you've been told since kindergarten. And also lastly, when the end of the day with spill the beans. It is time for you to spill the beans on today's concept, briefly explain today's concept, and provide an example. All right, you guys, I hope you had a good day. I will talk to you guys next time. Take care.